Well, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you very
I'll
much.
spare everybody. I'll spare everybody, but happy birthday, Dave.
Thank you very much, Nicole. And it's funny, you and I are both 13. We're both have our birthdays on the 13th. So kind of
Yes.
interesting, but yours is coming up in a couple months.
Oh,
So
shush.
no, that's that's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel. Like I don't want to talk about it. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, I hope
That's
you enjoy
funny.
your day. I hope you have
Thank
a
you very
great
much. I
day.
appreciate that.
I just saw your friend Jeff in Canada, in
Yeah.
Toronto.
He,
Um, he's great.
all right. I got to tell you something so funny. So the long story is obviously in high school, for people who haven't followed the show, I used to go watch tapings of Charles in Charge. And so I would always try and meet Nicole. And that was always my goal is, Thursday I'm going, and I'd go to the tapings of the shows. And you did talk to me, for people who wonder what happened. So then I became a radio personality in San Diego for 25 years. And we would talk about this thing on the show all the time. And so Jeff was my radio partner, would say, wait a second, tell the story again. And I would tell the story, innocent as can be. And he's like, you were a stalker. And I was like, I was not a stalker. And then the whole audience turned it into I was a stalker. So for 25 years, I've taken a lot of heat for this. So for the first time ever, face to face, you met my radio partner, Jeff, who I've known for 30 years. And I was running around. I was in a big hurry on Saturday. And this is honestly the text I get. Man, she's a little thing. And I said, who are we talking about? I'm like, I know you're in Toronto. And then it clicked. As soon as I thought of Toronto, he ran into you.
Yeah.
And he goes, she's a little thing. And it's funny. I never think of you as being short or little, or, you know what I mean? You aren't that tiny person. You have a good personality where she can take care of herself. And so I never think of
Think of me as
Nicole
little.
being, yeah, like a jockey. I mean, when he said that, it completely, that's not my mindset.
I
It
don't know.
made
I'm
me
pretty
laugh.
close. I'm not too far off. I'm vertically challenged. For those who don't know, I'm 5'2" if I'm lucky. But it was really funny. I got this Google alert and I clicked on it randomly just to see what they were saying. And they were like, why Nicole Eggert never became a huge A-list actress. And they were like, I think it's because she's so tiny. Have you
No
seen
way.
how tiny she is? It made me laugh. It cracked me up. So, and I don't think that has anything to do with it. But actresses can be small. It probably has to do with the fact that I jumped out of the industry. But yeah, so that's what he had to say, huh? That's funny. We missed an opportunity to get a picture.
Yeah, he said you were busy. You don't want to bother you. Said she was busy and she was working. He understands what that's like. And so he had nothing but great things to say about you. I just knew you're in Toronto. So I wanted to ask you, being in Toronto, I assume you've been there before. I heard it's a great city, but it
Yeah.
looked cold. Was it cold?
It was cold, but it wasn't that cold. I mean, if you have the proper gear, you're fine. And obviously we're used to New York so much, so we're fine. But I got to take Keegan. It's so funny because it's so little. Toronto's so little. You think like it's this big city, but it's not.
Yeah.
We walked the entire city, in one afternoon. I took her to every area, and it was great because it was her first time out of the country, if you can believe. I was kind of stunned by that. And so we stayed an extra day, so I got to show her the city, and it was really well worth it. However, on the plane ride home, I completely damaged myself by sitting for 5 hours, and I've not been able to walk since.
No
So
way.
yeah, and it's funny because everyone's always like, "Oh, you look great, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so deceiving because my body is not great. It's not great." So I woke up in tremendous pain, and I'm dealing with that. So I know there's people out there that can relate. It just sucks. My bones have taken a beating. So it's a little bit
I'm sorry
better
to hear
today,
that.
thank God. So yeah, no, I'm definitely limping. But it was a fantastic time. You forget like how clean Toronto is and how nice all the
Yeah.
people are in Canada. It's just like everybody's in such a better mood there. Understandably so, but I mean, it is just night and day from the US. They're just the kindest, nicest, most
Yeah.
sensible people. So yeah, it was really enjoyable. But
That is cool. I gotta go. My son went last year, and obviously my buddy Jeff goes 4 times a year, and I hear nothing but great things.
yeah, Really fun city. So my birthday gift to you is our guest today. Don't ever say I never gave you
Yeah.
anything. No, we have a fantastic guest who was also with me in Toronto. She is just gorgeous. She was also on Baywatch. I think she's more gorgeous now than she was then. And she just recently directed, produced, and starred in a movie called Wineville, a horror, which I'm watching. And if you have not, definitely check it out. But let's introduce Miss Brande Roderick.
Hi, guys. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Brande.
I'm not doing it as good as Nicole, but
I was shocked that Nicole knew, so that was awesome. I appreciate it.
but the one good thing is, guess what? We're all the 13th.
Really?
Yes.
I remember Nicole and I discovered that this past weekend we were in Toronto, and now you have the 13th, so we're all very special.
This happens a lot. This happened with us before, Dave, with somebody else.
Yeah, we did.
I love it when
You're
it's a
right.
trifecta of 13s. Yeah.
It is interesting. Were you two born? I was born on Friday the 13th. Were you two born on Friday the 13th?
I was Thursday.
Okay.
I don't
Do
know.
you know what you were, Nicole? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those days. It's so funny because I had my star chart read recently by Allie from Vanderpump Rules. Allie, that's her name, right?
I don't know. I haven't.
Okay, yeah, you don't watch that show. So she did it, and then they asked me like, "What time were you born?" I had to dig out my birth certificate.
That's funny. Was that? I bet that was fun though to do that.
Super fun and right on the money. And what she said was ahead of me. I'm really hoping for because it sounds good and it's what I'm manifesting. And what I just had been through was right on the money, and a lot of things she would know nothing about. So I highly suggest getting it done if anybody's not done that. It was it was super fun. Made a lot of sense.
I had that done. I did it last January because I go to like a woo-woo retreat every January, and I had that done, and it is amazing how spot on they are, because when they don't even know you or know any of your stuff, those charts are really it's pretty amazing how accurate.
You know, like in India, they rely so much on it. So I completely get why. Because for a while I was like, well, that's so interesting because they're such a smart, smart culture, and like they're so healthy. Like everything is so spot on in India. And then I was like, but they rely on the astrological. And then I had it done, and I get it. I see why now. But,
it's fun.
Yeah, super fun. So tell us about Wineville, because I'm watching, and I won't give any spoilers. I'm in. It's good. Anybody who loves horror, it's got that.
Yeah. It's definitely not for the faint at heart. I will definitely tell you that. And you should not watch it with kids, which I told Nicole that, and she's discovering. But it is based in 1978. It's kind of got that grit, like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but yet it's more plot-driven, story-driven, about a really messed up family, really messed up, and it's a family of serial killers. And, it's a story based on a girl who had really terrible trauma as a child. She had to run away when she was 15, but she had to come back to the family winery when her dad passes away, and only to find that things have darkened and festered and gotten even worse when she came back. And now not only does she have to try and get out herself, now she has to do everything to save her son to get out. So will they get out alive? I don't know.
And the son is played by your real life son.
Yeah, my son Keaton, my oldest son. When we shot it, he was 12. Yeah, he had just turned 12, and now he's 14. So at first, when we shot the movie, I was like, "Oh gosh, I feel so bad. He's making this movie, he's telling his friends, and he can't even watch it. None of his friends could watch it." But now that he's actually 14 and a half, almost 15, thankfully he was ready. He was old enough to go to the premiere, and I let him see it. And, he's a little bit more mature, now. So he was able to handle it, but he did walk out on a couple parts, which I won't say what they were, but
sometimes it's Yeah, because my daughter likes scary stuff, and we turned on a movie, The Terrifier.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And they open this curtain, he's got the girl hanging upside down, and he gets a saw, and he cuts her from the crotch down through the head. And my daughter's going, oh my god. Oh my god, he's cut her there. He's cut her there. Turn this off. That was the end of The Terrifier for us.
I mean, there are some movies you can watch with teenagers, right? But there are some that you just cannot.
Oh, because a lot of like slasher stuff, it's it's over the top with all kinds of things, with sex, with nudity, with language. But I will say with Wineville, there's good story. Like The Terrifier, it was really hard getting through like all the story parts. I was like, oh God. It was painful. But yours is not. Yours, it is a good combination of all of it.
Yeah.
So well done.
Thank you. And that's one thing that was really important to me, is to have plot twists. I didn't want people to figure out who's the killer, what's going to happen. I just wanted to have multiple plot twists. I hate it when I'm watching a movie and even though I try to figure it out, I hate it when I figure it out, right away, or figure out what's going to happen, because you want to be surprised. So that's one thing that I'm excited to have, for you to finish watching it. So you'll get all the plot twists and hopefully leave going, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that.
Perfect.
I believe that I will, because it is, I'm impressed so far. And my little one is at school, so I get to watch. Whatever the hell I want today. It says based on a true. Sorry, David. Just one question. It says
sorry
it's
about
based
that.
on a true story. So I want to know, what's the true story? Please tell me it's not your life.
No. So the true part is that this was based in Wineville, which was a real town. So in Mira Loma, California, the town used to be called Wineville. And there were, right where we shot on Wineville Road, right next to it was the chicken coop murders. And it was a horrific story back in the mid to late 1920s of a male serial killer who went around and kidnapped and tortured and killed young boys and kept them in a chicken coop. And they actually made a movie about it called The Changelings with Angelina Jolie, which, if you haven't seen it, it's a fantastic movie. But that whole, they had to change the name to Mira Loma because the press around the town Wineville was so horrible because of these murders. They had to change the name to Mira Loma. But where that happened was right next to the winery where we shot on Wineville Road. And in the storyline, I talk about how the chicken coop murders just happened, right next door. So it was tough. Couldn't have kids coming over to play and, the whole thing. But it's just, loosely based around that story and the horror that had happened. But we're our own horrific family here at the winery. So the whole street has horrific things that happened. Yeah,
that's an amazing storyline. I'm always curious to know. Again, I was never an actor, Brandy, but scary movies always got to me when I was a kid. I saw Halloween when I was like in second or third grade, and I swear I didn't sleep for a week. But it's the music has so much to do with it. When you're doing the movie, I mean, doing your project, and you're going through everything, do you ever think in your mind like, is this going to be scary enough? Because you obviously don't have the music going, you don't have what everyone's feeling on their couch when they're home alone and they hope the doors are locked when they're watching it. But do you ever fear that, hey, is this going to be scary enough to take everyone in, or did you know right away, hey, this is going to work?
No, because actually we are not, this film is not like your typical jump scare type movie. It is more like the horrific plot and storyline that really drives it. But when you talk about music, for me, that was like, it's so important. It's just as important as everything else, if not more, to create that atmosphere and that tone of the movie. And for me, I really wanted that old school, like Halloween type of music. And our composer we got is a real composer, and he did everything. He did all the piano himself. His wife did the cello, did the strings. So it was really a wonderful score for the film, and it really gives you kind of that Halloween type vibe. And that was really, really important to me. I didn't want some cheesy like synthesizer, where they're just buying music online. This is like a really movie that was composed, by real people, not just something off the internet. So that was really important to me.
Yeah, you can tell. It definitely shows. How did it all come about? How did you put it all together? Like, tell me like the origin.
Well, the idea came about because I was shooting a Christmas movie, totally different vibe. And it was like the middle of COVID, right? And so there were no jobs, right? It's just like, there's just nothing. So I'm like, well, if I want to work and I want to get something going, I need to create something myself. And so I started thinking about, okay, well, what kind of movie do I want to make? And the most comfortable genre for me is horror, because I've watched horror my whole life. My first movie I watched was The Exorcist with my mom at 6 years old. My family's nuts. They were always trying to scare each other and do crazy things. Sleepaway Camp, I watched at 10 years old with all my friends, instead of having like the Rainbow Bright party, we had a sleepaway camp party and camped outside. Anyway, so that genre to me is really comfortable. And I talked to a lot of producer friends and they all said, horror is the easiest genre to sell. I don't know if that's still the case now, but it was, 3 years ago. So it kind of just started from that. And, then it's like, okay, now I got to figure out how to raise money for this. And I am just, it's really hard to be, to try to go out and raise money. I'm just not the person that's going to like call everybody and ask and figure that out. So I did the crazy thing that they tell you not to do. And I would never recommend anybody doing this, but I went and sold my house so that I could fund my own movie. Plus, I didn't want to be a slave to somebody else and somebody else's, messing my stuff up or whatever. So I went ahead and did that and went all in and funded, a passion that I believe in and I really wanted to do. And that's pretty much how it all started. And then, it took about a year and a half of pre-production, just getting everything together and lined up. And I'm very grateful that being in the business so long, I have so many friends that were able to help me. For example, the practical effects, Vincent Gustani, he is now like a top dog in practical effects, in Hollywood. But I worked on a little movie called Snoop Dogg's Hood of Horror 25 years ago. And, we stayed friends ever since. So he said, don't worry, Brande, I got you. I'm going to help you. So I had him. And then Art Camacho, who is an amazing stunt coordinator in all blockbuster films, said, don't worry, I got you. I'll help you with your stunts. And he came on and did an amazing job. So I had all these like top-notch people come in and help me with this film, which was awesome because, being an indie low-budget film, it's pretty great to have these kind of really cool people. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I was just like kind of talking a lot, but it was just, we only had a 12-day shoot, which is crazy because it's been 3 years process, even in post-production, almost a year and a half. It's so funny that when you actually shoot, it was only 2 weeks of the entire process. But it's exciting now that it's out and people are watching it and I'm getting people's reactions and, it's nice that it's finally out there.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who watches DVDs, your DVD is really fun. There's like some good extras on there. I saw like audition process and just some stuff on there. Yeah, really enjoyable stuff.
Cool because the physical media, the DVDs is coming back. Like people are actually now starting to collect them again. People are getting nostalgic. So that's why I wanted to do a DVD. And yes, it's got the bonus features. It's got actor auditions, which is always fun to watch, behind the scenes stuff, the character interviews. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff on the DVD. And one thing that we're doing too on my social media, if anyone DMs me proof of their purchase, whether it's the DVD or the film, streaming, whatever it is, just DM me proof of that. I'm doing a follow back on social media. So whether it's Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, they could just send that to me and then I'll immediately follow them.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hear that, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
She will follow you back.
Yes.
And you get to watch a good movie at the same time, because it is worth it. It's definitely, and you can rent it. I rented it on Amazon. But you can I saw that you can rent it in all kinds of places.
Yeah. Apple, Google Play, all the things.
All of them, all the places.
Yeah. Yep.
So Brande got to work on Baywatch when they shot in Hawaii, Dave.
Yeah.
Pretty nice, huh?
I know. I know. I get that reaction from everyone that had to shoot in LA. I know. The water was always warm and we're on the beaches in Hawaii where the sands are white and nice and the weather's always nice. I know I'm rubbing it in. It was the dream job, honestly. It was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I've shot in Hawaii for other things, and I did eventually get to do the Baywatch movie. Brande was also in. Yeah, so it was sort of like living out my dream of shooting Baywatch in a tropical place. But anytime I've shot in Hawaii, it just, you feel like you're on vacation. You don't feel like you're working. And I know people probably think that about Southern California too, because it's also a huge vacation destination. But when you live here, it's home, so it's not. Yeah. It's not the same.
Yeah, no, that's true. And Hawaii is just, it's a spiritual place. It has that. And I guess because you're surrounded by water, right? That's supposed to make you, calm and feeling good. So I think that it's just the spirit of Hawaii also, it's just, it makes you just feel happy.
Yeah, it's the air. It's the air, the spirituality, the smells, the visuals. Yeah, the whole nine.
Exactly.
Super gorgeous.
Good place. Definitely. Yes. So how do you guys know each other?
Well, Dave was a stalker of mine.
Right. Yes, I heard that.
that was,
and I go, wait a minute. Go ahead, Dave. I'll let you talk.
No, we go all the way back to the 80s. But it was one of those things. So I was born in Los Angeles, but moved to Nashville, Tennessee for 9 years and came back to LA. And people told me you can go to tapings of shows for free. And so, in high school, I already had everything basically figured out. Like I knew what college I was going to go to and everything else. And so I said, all right, I'm going to go to a different show. Instead of like going to the movies, I'd watch shows being done. I was a huge TV movie fan.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a Nicole fan from Charles in Charge. And I said, I'm going to do what I can to meet her. And so everybody in the school knew, like, this was a big thing. Like everyone knew Thursday I was going to go see Nicole. Yeah. And then on Friday, everyone had to get a report. All right, what happened? Like people I didn't even know real well knew the story. And then I talked to her for 5 seconds, or I didn't talk to her at all, or whatever it was. And so it just became a running thing. And so the funny part of this story, and I don't know how much Nicole knows about this, is on a Friday night, I went to go see Married with Children. And Christina Applegate out of nowhere just starts talking to me, like between scenes. She like out of the crowd just starts talking to me. And my buddy's like, dude, she likes you. You should ask her out. And I said, no, my attention's only towards Nicole. I had no time for Christina Applegate. And everyone gave me a hard time in school the next day. Like, what are you doing? I heard Christina Applegate was talking to you. I go, I was one person and Nicole was it. And then it just turned into a run-in joke for years on the radio in San Diego for years and years. And then Nicole came on another show that I do back in 2016. And everyone's like, she's cool as can be. She's much better than people thought she was going to be. And she got a lot of fans from the show that did not expect her to be that great. And that we just kind of kept our friendship going. And then we started this up. But Nicole's always been incredible. She's always been awesome. She has a huge fan base in San Diego that love her.
Well, Dave, the part that Dave's leaving out is that he's a big sports guy, right? But he loves housewives.
I do. I watch every housewife.
We got to chatting about reality TV and the Real Housewives. And then we were like, yeah. So,
that's funny. So you guys connected on the Real Housewives.
Oh, big time. Big time. Yeah, I'm a huge. huge Housewives fan, and it's one of those things where it's embarrassing, but at the same time, I watch every one of them. Like I know Southern Charm's coming back on December 5th. I can't wait. I'm all in. I'm in on all these. So
hilarious.
yes, I'm a diehard Dodger Laker fan, all that stuff, but the Housewives thing, all my friends' wives have someone to talk to. That's kind of the way
my
it is.
ex-husband is totally the same way. He loves all the Housewives. Like, I wonder what that says about a man.
I don't know. My son tells everyone he has two moms. I don't know. My son always tells everyone I have two moms, but my wife never watches. She won't watch any of those shows. So it's embarrassing, but I've been hooked forever. I've never missed our Kardashians. I watch them all.
Yeah.
Just you're trying to learn about women. Like you just want to know more about women so you can be a better husband. Maybe you just say that.
You know what? I'll tell you this.
He likes the drama.
I do. I love the drama. She's absolutely right. I love the drama. But here's the funny thing is men bore the hell out of me. Like if I go to a party, I never want to go to that side over there where the guys are just talking. The conversations are boring. I always rather go to the other side. It's always more interesting to me.
Girls are always dirtier too. It's so funny because Gina, Lee Nolan and I were just talking about that, how it's like the girls are worse than guys. Guys don't talk about the kinds of things that we talk about.
They don't.
We're definitely worse.
Thing is, as guys, we talked about it in 6th grade, and then we don't do it once we're older.
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, in 6th grade we did it all the time, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing back then either.
Right.
We just thought we knew. But but you're right. When I go to the park, I'm shocked at what I hear women talk about. With the men, you walk to that side, it's the dumbest guys in the world talking about.
Like, how were the Dodgers?
Like quarterback for the Bears. Yeah, it's nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Who got traded? So got traded this week or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know why any women would pick a guy. I don't get it.
Well, if you're a decent man, that's the conversation. Other decent men. Yeah,
that's true. You're right about that.
There are some.
It's funny. It's funny. Brandy, I am curious if I guess the question is, how did you decide to get into the industry? Like I've asked Nicole. I always find it fascinating that at a young age she just took off. Like for you, what made you decide I'm going to pursue this?
I mean, as far as I can remember, I've been, wanting to act and acting. So, when I was probably 6 or 7, I was putting on, performances in my living room, and I would set up chairs and I'd go around to all the neighbors and sell tickets and have them come to the house. And I'd put all the neighborhood kids in the play and, create these performances. And then, you go into junior high and high school and you take theater and acting classes, drama. And so it just kind of was a natural progression. And when I graduated a year early from high school, because I was like, this is just wasting my time. I want to get out. I wanted to do real estate also. So I'm like, I want to make money. I wanted to buy a house by the time I was 25. I had all these goals. So I got my real estate license right after high school. And I started doing that and realizing nobody wants to sell their house or buy a house from an 18-year-old, which, why would they? But I had that wonderful experience and I was like, you know what? And I was taking theater in junior college and I was like, I'm 22. If I don't leave now, I'm getting too old, and for Hollywood. So I packed up a U-Haul and moved to Hollywood with no car or anything. I was sleeping on my friend's couch at first and just, went to follow a dream and a passion and go do it. So that's how it all started. Yeah.
Brande Roderick has some big balls.
Yeah. I'd be scared to death.
He has big balls.
So
yeah. And to get the movie finance, like you go all in, you go hard.
Yeah, I do. I definitely, I go hard.
I love that. I love that. Listen, if you don't gamble big, you don't win big.
Yeah, exactly. What is it? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Exactly right.
So
yes.
True.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. But, but I missed a lot of them too.
Yeah. I'm always amazed though that people that have your story of packing up and coming to LA to say I'm going to pursue this, because I always think back to my friends in middle school or junior high, as we used to call it, that would say that's my dream too. I don't, I did it in school. I can go do it on the big stage, and I'm like, I don't even know where you go. Like it's amazing. Like you you found a way to do it. You slept on a friend's couch, but it's not like people who move to LA, you just drive to this one door and go, all right, here's your opportunity. Do you have it or you don't have it? I mean, you really have to work to get in front of the right people.
Oh yeah. Yeah. As Nicole knows, it's never easy. It's always hard work, this business. But I really have to thank, I think my mom and dad for a lot of it, because my mom was always the type of person like, you can achieve anything, as long as you work hard and go after it. My mom was always pushing like that. So I think that kind of, has a lot to do with my personality of thinking I can do anything I want to do. So just going after it and getting it.
That's very true. That's so true what you just said. My daughter last night was watching one of these dance mom shows, and these mothers are terrible. They treat the kids. It's like it's child abuse. And I said to my daughter, you're watching child abuse. But one of them, the girl was crying, and the mom, and I said, because my daughter does tumbling and she's in competitive cheer. And I said, I really hope I don't do any of that. And if I do, you need to please tell me. And she said, no, Mom, you give me so much confidence. You just are there. You give me confidence. And I thought, okay, phew, because it is so important. Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to hear, right?
Yeah.
Because that is so important. You want to give your kids confidence, because confidence is the start of everything, right? If you have confidence, you can do anything. So just to hear that, I mean, that must have been awesome. Like, that's so great to hear that.
It is, it's a hard balance, because at this age, they're so weird, like 13-year-old girls are like, if you say the wrong thing, oh, watch out. You know what I mean?
I can only imagine. Yeah.
So it's either you can say the right thing and it's amazing, or it's a rage, or it's like breakdown in tears, and you're like, I don't know what the fuck just happened. Like, it's like the balance.
You have to be confident and brave as a mom to have a daughter.
that part. Because in all honesty, my mom really pushed me a lot, but she made me a very insecure person. So it was like she didn't do well balancing any of that. So I try to be very conscious of it and try to change the I'm the one that's changing the generation,
breaking the cycle.
Cycle, and I'm trying to absorb as much as the generational trauma as I can. So it's but that's so your mom was really great about that. A lot of people come out here and they get off on the bus and they're like, what the hell is this? And they get sucked in. They get sucked in by the dark side, or they go right back home. Like, it takes a certain
definitely takes a certain breed of person to make it, I feel like, because you're right. You could get pulled down a wrong path. The rejection might be too much, more than you can handle. There's a lot that can happen. So it's definitely, you have to either have a thick skin or grow a thick skin quickly.
And have some street smarts about you too, because listen, you take a bus to Hollywood. We, like anybody that's from here, what that looks like, to getting off on a bus stop in Hollywood. You could be recruited to be a prostitute in 5 minutes.
Right.
You're probably offered drugs in 10 minutes. It's like,
Oh my gosh. This is I don't know if we have time, but this is a crazy story. So before I moved to LA, I was approached by a woman and my girlfriend to come to Japan. And so I was like 20, this was when I was 22. Come to Japan, you live in Japan, you're going to be a hostess and you're going to make all this money. There was like, you get all these tips and all this tons of money. And my mom was like, please don't go. Please don't go. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going. Like, I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to make all this money. And then her best friend came and talked to me. She's like, Brandy, please don't go. You're going to kill your mom. Like, please, you can't go. This isn't safe. And I was like, fine. Then I'm going to Hollywood. But it turns out that I found out and watched all these documentary, like years later, 15, 20 years later, that these women recruiters recruiting women to come host, and they were keeping them there, and is like sex trafficking, and they were becoming prostitutes, and they weren't they kept them there and wouldn't let them leave. So thankfully, my mom's friend had the sense to come and really talk me out of it going, but I could have been, dead or still in Japan prostituting. I mean, it's just, it is crazy how, one small decision can change everything. And with young ladies, you have to really be smart. And I'm glad now that there is the internet and we have all this knowledge so that young girls maybe don't fall down those traps now, like it was so easy to do before. But it is crazy.
That is, Brande was Playmate of the Year too.
Yeah.
So Playmate of the Month, and then became Playmate of the Year. Did you do that before Baywatch or after? What was the timeline?
Those came out at exactly the same time, which is kind of funny. They were both happening simultaneously. I was having the meetings with Baywatch before my issue came out, like the month before. But when I went away to go do Baywatch was April, and my issue came out in April. So everything it just kind of all happened, around the same time. And then I came back from shooting Baywatch in the off season, and I got the call from the editor, Marilyn Grabowski, asking, "Would you like to be Playmate of the Year?" I was like, "Oh, yes!" Jumping up and down, so excited. But I do feel like, being on Baywatch at that point helped me get Playmate of the Year because, that was easy publicity for them because I was on the #1 watch show in the world. So that, helped that. So I feel like almost like Playboy kind of helped me get Baywatch because I was that issue was coming out same time I got hired. And then I feel like Baywatch helped me get Playmate of the Year. So they definitely went hand in hand.
I love that. So much. How long did you just pack up and move to Hawaii, or how did that like?
Yeah. I mean, I lived at the Hilton Hawaiian Village, which I think, didn't we stay there also? Oh, no, we stayed at Turtle Bay. Movie. But
I have stayed. Yeah. I have stayed there. I do. Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, I loved it. I enjoyed it. But yeah, just packed up and went, and I was happy to do it because living in LA, like we're talking about, it could get a little, dark at times, and you're going, you're in your 20s, you're going out having fun, sometimes too much fun. So, it was at a time where it's like, oh, this is perfect timing, before anything bad could really happen. I went away to the beautiful, spiritual, wonderful place of Hawaii. Yeah.
So lucky. I'm so jealous about that. So jealous. Who wouldn't be? Say, I love it there. I need to get back there.
Yeah, definitely. We need to do another show there.
Yeah, I know. Let's figure something out.
Yeah.
Let's come up with something. We could do something. Best place in the world to shoot. Yes. Mm-hmm. Right in our backyard. Well, anybody who has not watched Wineville, and what do you have a website? Like, how do they get the DVD? Because explain all of that.
Winevillemovie.com is where they can go get the autographed DVD. I sign it. My son signs it because we're both on the poster there. And then there's also, it shows you and has links to everywhere you can watch it, Amazon and Apple and all the things. So everything's on winevillemovie.com.
Winevillemovie.com. And don't forget, if you do rent it, DM Brande and she'll give you a follow back on social media, which is
right.
Super special.
Yeah. And my social media is just my name, Brande Roderick. Make sure, and here's another thing, everybody, make sure whoever you're messaging has the little blue check mark. I don't know how many times you've probably gotten messages. I get messages like, oh, is this really you? Are you really asking to be my friend or whatever? And, people create fake accounts all the time. So make sure it just has the blue check mark and you're good to go.
Yes, all of that. Someone has been just nonstop creating accounts, pretending to be me, and they're saying it's the private, like it's a private one. That's why there's no check. And they inbox people, and then they get talking to them, and then they keep asking for money.
Yeah, that's what I've heard that too. And even they talk to you on the phone, and it's like, can't you tell the voice is different?
Yes, people will say I missed your call, and I'm thinking that's all deactivated. I don't. I will never be calling you on Facebook, nor will I ever be picking up.
Exactly.
A call
I know.
Facebook. That's not a thing.
I know. It's insane. Yeah. So blue check mark, everybody.
Blue check mark. Go find Brandy. Watch
Yes.
Wineville. It's
Yeah.
so good, and I'm so proud of you, and you should be so proud
Thank
of
you.
yourself.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I
I
hope you do
appreciate
more.
that. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you at the next function, whether it's
I
an
know.
autograph signing or whatever we're doing. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
do a movie together.
Yeah, we definitely should.
Yeah.
We definitely
Yeah.
should. So,
Yeah.
well,
All
thanks for
right,
joining
guys.
us. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yeah.
Dave, it was so nice to meet you.
It's very nice talking to you. I tell you, I went to Instagram while you were talking to follow you. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm already following you. I was already following. I was like,
oh, you were? Oh, okay.
maybe laugh. But
Yeah.
I got a real quick story before you go, Brandy. So
Yeah.
my kids and I, we used to love watching Starsky and Hutch. We
Oh, yeah.
loved the movie, and they were little when they were watching it. And the scene where you're being interviewed in the locker room, my kids always thought it was hilarious that they're getting tongue tied. But they have they were so young, they didn't understand why they were getting tongue tied. And I was laughing. I literally have to call my son and go, you won't believe who our guest was
Oh
today
my gosh.
when this is over, because he completely missed the joke part of why Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson couldn't talk when you're doing that scene. It's pretty funny.
That's so cute. Well, a fun fact you can tell him is that we did the scene, scripted and normal, and then we were doing a last take, and I didn't know it. And Todd Phillips, the director, told the guys just improv, and so started asking me all these questions that weren't scripted. I'm just like when they asked me my weight, I'm like,
yeah,
just so the scene that you see that made it was the improv scene. It wasn't even a scene. So that was all improv, which is really fun that they just went off and did all that. So that was all like really real questions, real answers.
Yeah. Underrated movie. I love that movie.
Yeah,
I love
it's
that movie.
hilarious. I can't believe you watched with your kids though. The whole thing. I mean,
they,
all the scenes and
they didn't know. They knew, all they knew was Snoop. They knew Snoop Dogg, and they loved it. They decided it was cool that Snoop was in the movie.
So much fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to you soon.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
That was very cool. That was funny as can be. Yeah. Probably not the best thing to watch with as I used to get in trouble all the time in my house, Nicole, was my oldest son grew up on Barney and kid songs and stuff like that. And by the time I had my second son, I was like, I can't do that anymore. I'm done. I can't watch any more Barney. And so we're watching Adam Sandler movies, and we're watching Starsky and Hutch and any Will Ferrell movie we could find. And the personalities of the two boys are so different. My wife's like, you completely broke the second one. I mean, what the hell's wrong with you? You're like the worst dad ever. I was like, I couldn't watch any more of that crap anymore. I was done. You know what you're gonna do, Barney? Not another 5 years of Barney. I was done. So that was it. But she was extremely, extremely nice. That's cool. When you run into these people that you worked with and you've been friends with for years, and you see them like in Toronto, is it one of those where, I'm catching up with an old friend, or all the stories come rushing back? I mean, what's it like for you?
Well, it's just happy. It's nice to see friendly, beautiful faces, familiar faces. Because a lot of times when you do these conventions, you can be alone. So it feels good. It feels like team and family. And especially since the documentary, it's like, I feel like we've all been in touch so much more than ever before. So it feels like, oh, friends are meeting up in Toronto,
That's
and
cool.
So it's like good. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, good. You're going to this thing. You're not alone. Your friends are going to be there, and and they're a good time.
Just a curious question. But I don't want to even bother her with it. But I figure I'll ask you. If both of you are, you're professionals, you're actresses, and you take pride in being a good actor. Is it tough at all? And you can answer any way you want. But is it tough at all saying, I feel like I'm getting looked at or casted for my looks before my acting ability, or my acting doesn't get a fair shake? Does it bother you at all?
Yes. Did you not watch the documentary, Dave? This is all covered in the Baywatch documentary.
Oh, did I miss that part?
You missed that part. You missed my whole segment.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't in my life until Baywatch, and I wasn't really cast I mean, I didn't even really go into Baywatch because of that, but anything after that, yes, I felt like that, and that's why I really stepped away from the business, because I just, people don't realize how long I had worked, and I had done a lot of A-list stuff, and then I found myself there, and just really kind of got discouraged, and my spark kind of faded a bit, and I needed to just step away and go explore life and see what was going on, because I wasn't sure how I ended up there. That's to be the truth. I was in a job where I didn't care about the acting anymore.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. I wasn't, reading the scripts so much. It was like I wasn't working on my dialogue before I got to set. And it was like, this is not me. This is not what I want to be doing. This is not, and I stepped away, and coming out of like the sexual abuse, and now we're being, completely like sexualized. I was like, what? I just found myself in a strange bubble. So that's my personal experience. Everybody
Yeah.
else's, everybody else's is so different. But that, if you're asking me, yeah.
The reason I ask is, as I mean, you've had a tough year. Anyone who's followed the show has followed you. You've had an incredibly tough year, but at the same time, you've said on the show you're ready to jump back into doing this professionally again, being an actor. And that was, what you did when you were, 5 years old to right now. And as we talk about, projects you've done in the past, whether like, Christmas movies, anything that people are going to be watching like crazy over the next few months, it seems like, hey, is this something you still want to do, or is the business kind of soured, or is it like, hey, I'm ready to give it another shot because I have that drive to do it again?
Yeah, I definitely am in such a different place in my life. I view everything differently. I have so much more confidence. I'm all of these things I wasn't so many years ago. And I've given myself that opportunity to see if there's other things I would want to pursue. And there's just really not this industry. And, and doing the documentary made me passionate again. And that passion had been missing for so long. So it's back. Unfortunately, the industry isn't what it was, and it's not that easy to just jump back in. But um, if you just keep going, you persevere, things happen. So yeah, I'm fully open to it. But yeah, I got to get, I'm still, on my health journey. I still have to go through like 18 rounds of treatment, and you know, and then I think I really want to take off. I'm really dying to just be in Asia or India or both. Because I'm really, I'm really big on all the things for
Yeah.
treating the cancer. And what people don't realize is that the inflammation, the chronic inflammation in your body is really what drives and causes these diseases. And sure, I can eat anti-inflammatory here, but it's hard. It's hard. It is just not easy. There is so much food that's so bad for you. Everything is on white bread. Everything is processed. Everything has sugar in it. And it's so convenient, and it's just there. And I really just want to be in a place where what's readily available is like pure, good food for your body. Like how we were talking about Hawaii, like the air, the spirituality. I need to be in a place like that where the lifestyle is just different. Spirituality is being, taken care of every day. You're doing that. All the foods are good for you. I need to heal like that. I
Yeah.
feel like in my soul, I feel like that's the only way I'm going to get back to being me, is to take some time off and get out of here and treat my body right.
Good deal.
In India,
Good deal.
their whole diet is all anti-inflammatory. They have one of the
Yeah.
best diets on earth, and that's readily available everywhere. You know what I mean? I kind of just need that break of not worrying about money and finances and food and how am I going to prepare, healthy food. I just need a break from it all, and like just make it easy, and just
Yeah.
meditate every day, and be amongst like-minded people that
I
I
like
can
it.
learn from. I would also love to talk to healers and doctors in those countries on how they treat this, because I've done the modern medicine, I'm doing it all, and now I want to find out what other stuff is out there that they're using in those countries, because I'm pretty positive it's different. So
Sounds like
I
you're ready
totally
to
went
go
off.
and bring a camera crew with you. You can do this as a project.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I want to go find some healing. I'm ready.
Good. I'm ready with the rolling of the eyes at the same time when you say I'm ready.
I am. It's tough. It's tough. I
It is.
have
Oh, I know.
the guilt, the pressure to eat right every time I put something. People don't realize when you put something in your mouth, in your body, it can either A, go in and heal your cells, or B, it goes in and it damages your cells.
You're
There's
right.
no food that you put in your body that it's just like, whatever, filler. No. It's not. It's either hurting you or it's helping you. So it's once you know that and you really comprehend that and you really like, I need that because my body's now way over inflamed with all the treatment. I'm way over. So I really need to just to combat that. So yeah.
I got you. I got you. Before we get to your mailbag, I have one question. Did you catch the first episode of the reunion of Orange County? Were you able to catch? I know you've been so busy. Yeah. By the way, it didn't register on my DVR normal. It said on my DVR, it just said untitled show. And I was like, what the hell's on my DVR? And bouncer, I thought it was something from the Dodgers. I had no idea why that was on my DVR. And it actually aired last Thursday. So 5 days after it aired, I finally clicked on it and saw it this morning. And I was curious to know if you watched. Yeah, it didn't register as the title on your. It might be on there and you don't know it, but just so you know, it didn't register.
I gotta go.
But I was curious to know. No one did you see it, and then what was your opinion? Because a couple of these girls just gang up, like almost like there's a pre-meeting before the show of this. What the four of us going to attack this one girl this way, and it happened a couple times. So it was interesting. It was an interesting reunion, almost like it was rehearsed before they walked in. Of we're going after this girl and this girl.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Oh my God, no, I'm dying. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing today.
Curious to know. All right, let's get to your mailbag. I know it's been a longer show. So again, Nicole's mailbag. If you have a question, it's perfectlytwistedpod.com. You go to the website and you look at the mailbag up top, and we will get your questions on the show. David Jordan wrote in with 5 questions for you. Okay.
All right, David, let's go.
Here we go. Nicole, were you in contact with Jason Brooks for the Baywatch documentary? I thought he was fantastic on Baywatch Hawaii.
No, not really. I mean, you have to understand Baywatch had so many cast members.
Yeah.
And we already interviewed like 35 people. And so to my knowledge, no. But we just couldn't possibly get to everybody.
Yeah. I mean, even so, that took 4 years, right?
Took almost 5 years. Yeah, it took almost 5 years. And still not everybody made, unfortunately, ABC cuts it and they do their final cut. And they put in who they want. And not even all the 35 interviews we did made it. So, no.
There you go. Next question. Was Greg Bonin supportive of the documentary? I don't recall seeing him interviewed, and I didn't see him in the group photos for the premiere.
No, Greg Bonin was absolutely trying to get it shut down the entire time, is what I've heard. Said a lot of negative things, told people he was making his own, so not to get involved with ours. No, I think he really was not happy. He was not happy about it. Okay. But the other 2 creators were very much on board, and there's turmoil. There's turmoil in that dynamic. So no, unfortunately, no, he was against it. So
okay. Next one, question 3. Nicole, were you a fan of Melrose Place back in the 90s? Did you ever audition for that show?
I was a fan. I don't think I did. I very much met with Aaron Spelling a lot through my life and through my career. So whenever he had a role for me, he would call and hand it to me. So I did a lot of his shows, but not Melrose Place.
You would have been perfect on that show. That seems like that would have been a great show for you.
Yeah. Well.
Ah, damn it. All right.
They had Heather Locklear. Yeah, he had Heather Locklear, and he always would say to me, like, he thought that I was a young, like I should follow suit of Heather Locklear. He thought we were very similar and had the same
That's a
kind of
compliment,
path.
because that's a huge
Yeah.
compliment, because you've always heard how much Heather Locklear meant to him.
Yes,
pretty
very
cool.
much. And I've always adored Heather Locklear and fell in love with her on the set of TJ Hooker, watching her career. Yeah, I've always been a huge fan. So yes, it was a big compliment in many ways.
Hate to say it, I used to watch her on Dynasty even before that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're
Yeah,
probably
she
thinking,
was
what the
so
hell
great.
happened in your house? Like, what the hell is that little kid watching Dynasty for? But yeah,
We all did.
I don't know how many 8-year-old little boys are watching Dynasty, but there I was. By the way, not with my parents. I just watching by
Oh, just
myself.
on your own.
Yeah, on my own. Like, what's wrong with this guy? A lot. All right. What TV or movie role stands out to you as one you would have been totally nailed it and said that would have been a great part for me, and could be there? It could be any role in history. It doesn't have to be a current show. Is there anything in history we just said, man, that would have been pretty cool to be part of?
Oh my gosh. So many. Oh, I would have loved to have been in Splash.
Oh yeah,
But I too young for it. But if I could, like you said, any movie. So if I
yeah.
could do that, what I really wanted and didn't get was Amityville Horror.
Oh my
Really,
gosh.
I
Oh my
came
gosh.
so close to nailing to booking that job, and I
Really?
didn't. Yes. Um, the also, there's some like Roller Girl. I've talked about this before. And Boogie
Yeah.
Nights, I came, down to the wire, but then they hand it to Heather and Heather Graham, and I get it. Like, I don't think I would have done better than her. Sometimes you see yourself in a role, but then when the other actor or actress does the role, you're like, I love it. I can't imagine it any other way. So that's hard. It's hard to say like, oh, I would have done better, but
Yeah.
to say, I can say like, what would I have loved to have done? Splash, Boogie Nights, Amityville Horror.
Wow.
Loved it. Oh, so yeah.
It's interesting about you said Boogie Nights before. The one thing about Boogie Nights, the acting in that movie was as good as any movie you're ever going to see. I mean, the actors, like, I know Burt Reynolds fought it, like he didn't want to do it, and I think it was his best role ever.
Yeah.
But every single Philip Seymour Hoffman's great.
Oh.
Everybody's so good in that movie. It's really incredible. Don Cheadle's great in that movie. Everybody's great in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fantastic movie. Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Nicole, what's the latest you're hearing on a Baywatch reboot? Anything?
Well, here's my suspicions, and I think I've said this before. There is a show that Fox has that's called Rescue High Tide, High Wave, High something
I know the
to do with
show.
a wave.
I haven't seen it, but I know the show. Yeah.
And I think it's been picked up for a second season. And, my suspicions are, and this is very typical of this industry, that when someone's shopping a competitive project, someone will buy it to shelf it,
Exactly.
to get rid of that competition. So as far as I know, and what I've heard through the grapevine, they don't even have a pilot written. They are not seeing eye to eye. They're not getting really anything off the ground. So hoping that the Baywatch documentary could maybe give them a little bit of a rescue. No pun, every pun intended. A little a little rescue, and maybe they can take it once their deal is up where they're shelved right now, and maybe they can get it going somewhere else. But it's the way, it's one of the dirty ways of the industry. They're going to try to, get competition off the table. So I don't know. That's my suspicion of what happened there.
Yeah.
But I wish them all the best. I really hope they do find another home for it, and that they can get it going and get it done. And why not? Why not? Let's go.
Exactly right. There you go. All right, David, I really appreciate the questions right there. That was great. Again, perfectlytwistedpod.com. Look for the mailbag up top and get your questions in. We'll get them on the show. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. And give us a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you don't. And we will catch you next week.